Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel, and thanks for logging on. Today, we're discussing the Patek Philippe 5131 1P in platinum with full platinum bracelet. You can see and you can purchase this World Time micro-rotor automatic cloisonne enamel dial Patek Philippe timepiece on our website. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you enjoy these videos, and please click on the card in the upper right-hand corner of the screen at any time during this video to see our full sales listing for this watch with additional accessories included in the sale, high-resolution images for your desktop, and naturally complete pricing for this and our entire collection of pre-owned Patek timepieces. Now you can see on my wrist, 16 centimeters in circumference. The watch has impressive stance thanks to the integration of case and bracelet, but nevertheless the ergonomics are excellent. Start with the shape of the case, perfectly arced to trace the curvature of the top of your wrist. Second, the size, a versatile 39.5 millimeters. This watch is a little bit larger than the 5230 that succeeded it, and so it makes a better platform for enamel dialing as there is a larger canvas, but it also provides a little bit more of a beefy wrist stance and presence. Now in terms of thickness, the watch is not ultra thin in spite of the micro-rotor automatic. It is 10.9 millimeters thick, but you can see thanks to the shape of it, which is generously domed when you include the form of the bezel and the case flank, it will easily slide underneath a tight dress cuff, and not just the suit jacket, but the sleeve beneath as well. From lug to lug, two ways to measure this watch. The first is to measure it from true case lug to case lug. So if you were to accessorize, put this on a strap, maybe give the platinum bracelet a rest, you'd find that its measurement across the wrist is 49.4 millimeters. Now counting the bracelet, which is how most people will wear it, it's going to be a slightly larger, but still wearable, 50.3 millimeters. I believe on the bracelet you could wear this watch on a wrist as small as 14 to 14.5 centimeters in circumference. Platinum, it has a feel all of its own. Now I will mention that if you do want to accessorize with a leather strap, you will want to buy one that is 21 millimeters because that is the lug spacing. You'll also note the top Vesselton diamond in the flank of the case, and even how the end link of the bracelet is perfectly shaped for a small recessed cutout to allow full view of the top Vesselton diamond that is the signature of a modern Patek Philippe platinum timepiece. Back to the bracelet, however, it's almost like a platinum version of Rolex's Jubilee. So if you're familiar with Rolex's 5-link Jubilee bracelet, you will have a good sense of how this one wears. It is silky smooth, beautifully finished with small individual links and many of them horizontally. The short and numerous links make it feel more like a very supple leather strap than it feels like a bracelet. The heft, however, will remind you. Now, you can see the channels between the links are immense, so this will easily aerate the wrist, avoid trapping heat, sweat, moisture, and grit on a hot day. Also, because of the broad channels between the links, it will have no tendency to catch skin or pull hair. I wore the watch considerably around the office prior to this review, and I can attest to its comfort. Now, moving on to the clasp, you can see it's a double deployant with a handsome arc, so it does trace the underside of your wrist. It's not a big flat broncard or a plank. And then the individual folding components are secured in place by a clamshell, and I'm actually quite happy to see that. Even many high-end bracelets in the dress watch segment will feature a simple friction fit to keep them closed. I prefer the security of some sort of mechanism, such as triggers or a clamshell. Well done, Patek. Now the case is incredibly sensuous, smooth, and slinky. There is nary a straight line on this flame-surfaced collection of compound curves. It truly does catch the light like fire does. You have to really look to find the straight lines, and as far as I can tell, it's only the junction of the case flank and the bezel, as well as the partition point between the end link of the bracelet and the side of the lug. That's how curvaceous this case is. It is hard to find a straight line, and I love that. Now, the watch has a complex dial. There's a lot going on, I'm not going to lie. It can be bewildering at first, but if you live with this watch on a daily basis, it becomes simple, and it will always be beautiful. Let's see if we can get just a little bit closer. First and foremost, it's a world time. So you have 24 reference cities. Each one of the reference cities is a stand-in for one of the world's 24 principal time zones. Now, all you do is you look at the counterclockwise rotating 24-hour reference ring between the center dial and the outer track, and so you look at the hour that is next to your city. So you put your current city at 12 o'clock, that's the index, and then you set the time for the city where you are currently located. So you can see it's almost 4 o'clock. 4 is moving right underneath New York. The ring moves counterclockwise, so it is almost 4 o'clock. It's 2 or 3 minutes to 4 o'clock. Now I can also look at the hour adjacent to any other city, and then I can tell you the time AM or PM in any of those cities. And as you'll note, there is actually a coloration to the ring, so you have an easy heuristic to help you judge day and night. So for instance, you don't make that 8 PM call at 8 AM or vice versa. Now the center dial is very special. Cloisonne enamel, the land masses and the Cs are created by a combination of vitreous paint, so glass-based paint, that's applied and then kiln fired at hundreds of degrees Celsius to set it. And then there are cloisonne elements, or gold wires, that are used to define the outlines of the land masses. The artisan will then use different colors of paint as well as different weights and thicknesses of paint to create the shading. So you'll see as the Cs approach the land masses, just as they would from a satellite view, they start to thin out and the waters become lighter as they approach the landmass, and that is achieved by using relatively less or thinner layers of paint on the dial. Each one is handmade, each one is laboriously constructed. Cloisonne enamel, like the tuning of the minute repeater, is one of the craft arts that simply cannot be industrialized. You can make a cheap enamel dial, and for instance, Seiko has done that on the Presage collection. You can't do cheap cloisonne grand faux. You simply can't. So you get all the complication of this watch plus the artistry, ensuring it will always be exclusive, and that's before we even discuss the platinum case. Now let's talk a little bit about the function and how you set it. So I'm in New York. I'm going to move to, say I want to move to Moscow. And take a long flight, and now my time zone is GMT +3, so London +3. Well, you see how the watch adjusted? It did all the math for me. The hour hand jumped in sync with my moves through the individual time zones, and they correspond perfectly. So now my watch is set correctly for Moscow time. So as I travel, all I have to do is use this pusher adjuster to set my reference city, assuming my first reference city time was set correctly, and the watch will do the math and all the work for me. Now if I want to, I can also set the time independent of the reference city ring by pulling the crown and turning it, and this allows me to set the time once I've selected my city of reference. The city of reference should always be your current city. Now turning the watch over, I'm going to open up that clamshell device one more time. You can see the movement is gorgeous. It is a Patek Philippe caliber 240 micro rotor automatic known as the 240 HU or Universal. It has, as you can see, a micro rotor system for winding. So the micro rotor ensures that unlike a central rotor automatic, you can see everything. Nothing is left to the imagination because it bears all. It sits in the same plane as the bridges. Now it also cleans up the movement and allows the watch to be made thinner in profile. You'll also note Gyromax style balance, free sprung, very tough, shock resistant, and yes, adjusted in 6 positions for chronometer beating accuracy. What you can't quite see is the Spiromax silicone hairspring that allows the watch to be robustly anti-magnetic. The rotor bearings, also unseen, are high-tech unlubricated ceramic for reduced maintenance in the long term and better winding efficiency in the short term. The power reserve is approximately 40 to 48 hours from a full wind. The watch is simply gorgeous on both sides. What you get on the back is mechanically, intellectually appealing, but aesthetically under the loop. When you get to 10, 12, 15 power, you will be able to enjoy a degree of finishing, and I can hint at it by turning flush to the camera. You can see the glint and the gleam of the mirror polished bridge edges, the anglage. You can see the black polish of the screws that turn black as I turn the movement flush to the camera. Let me see if I can open the bracelet a little bit more to even get you a better view. You can see the richly textured Côte de Genève perfectly aligned across the bridges. All of the screw heads are polished, yes, but their slots are also chamfered to remove hard edges and burrs. And as you can see below the rotor, there is a beautifully tight and even engine-turned perlage pattern. Now, it does not feature hacking seconds, that's one refinement it lacks, but in every other respects, masterfully engineered and artistically built, it is the equal of the dial of this watch. It beats away at 21,600 vibrations per hour, and though it has a screwed-in case back, I advise against immersion, as the watch is water resistant to 30 meters. Take the plunge into enamel seas with the Patek Philippe 5131 1P in platinum on our website.